Hi everybody, it's Lucy. I'm here to talk about the midterm progress report that you need to do for your sustainability audit. Try to give you some pretty straightforward pointers and answer any questions that you might have. So, what is it that you need to do for this midterm progress report? Well, it's relatively simple. You've picked your focal organization. Hopefully you've identified a couple of people within that organization with whom you can chat. And the task is now upon you to go on a fact-finding mission. You might be able to find some of what you need looking at a website or some other material. For example, you might be able to learn about the history of the organization. But to really dig in, to really get a sense of how are decisions made and so on, you're going to have to talk to somebody. When I say talk to somebody, I quite literally mean a face-to-face interview, maybe a Skype interview or a FaceTime interview. What I do not mean is email interviews. What I don't want to see you do is this. You have all these questions you need to answer. If you're not sure where those questions are, they are in the document called Sustainability in Action Units. That's under the syllabus on our D2L page under the Content tab. So Content, Syllabus, talks about sustainability and action units. And you have several pages of questions for which you need to find the answers. You don't want to copy all of that, paste it into a document, or paste it into an email message and then send it to somebody and say, here's all the stuff I'm going to be asking you when I meet, or hey, could you just answer as many of these as you can via email and then we'll follow up as we need to. Wrong approach. Here's why. Those questions are phrased using the jargon that's used in the Lawler and Worley text. The likelihood that anybody, unless they happen to have read this book, that anybody is going to be able to know exactly what you're talking about just looking at those questions, not a high probability. The other issue is when you basically survey people as opposed to really interviewing them, there's no way to do follow-up questions. So let me give you an example. So you ask somebody in an email, what is it that the organization values? And the person interprets that however they want, and they write back, we value our customers. Period. That's it. That's all they write. What does it actually mean? See, if you're in a face-to-face interview, you can say to that person who's just given you a pretty terse reply, you can say, can you help me to understand that a little bit better? Can you tell me a little bit more what you mean? Or how exactly do you do that? What would be an example? So the advantage of an interview, using interview as a protocol, is it allows you to do the follow-up. It also allows you to make sure that the person is understanding the question the way that you intended them to understand the question. So, number one, face-to-face interviews. Number two, you cannot ask the questions exactly as they're laid out in the Sustainability and Action Units. It won't make sense to people. So you need to take time in advance before you sit down for an interview and say, okay, how can I ask questions, or what kinds of questions can I ask that will get me the answers to these questions without me having to ask these questions exactly as they're written here? Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, Lucy, why didn't you just ask the questions the way that you think we ought to ask people? No. See, that's your task, and it's a function of the kind of organization that you're examining. Every organization is going to have its own eccentricities in terms of how they're structured, how they think about their organization, its processes, its people. So you have to figure out what words, what phrases should you be using in order to get the data you need. That's part of the problem solving, or the puzzle solving, if you will, the challenge that you face. There is no one best way to phrase the questions, to come up with questions that will get you the answers. That's part of your task. So, you need to sit back, okay, how can I get at this stuff? Then, you've gathered all of your information. What is it that you're actually going to give to me in this midterm progress report? It's going to be a Word document. It's going to have your name on it. It's going to have all of the questions listed. So there's a list, there's general, and it's got a bunch of questions. Then it starts Unit 1, there's a bunch of questions. Unit 2, there's a bunch of questions. You're going to include all of those questions in your Word document. And so you'll have general, then you'll have the first question, and then I want to see the answer in bulleted form, not in paragraph form. Do not write full sentences, etc., etc. Waste of your time. Just the facts, if you will, just the data in bullet form as you answer each of those questions. That is what you're going to give to me. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to look at it and I'm going to get a sense of, are you on track? Does it look like you're having some issues? Are there some suggestions I can make to you for other ways to get information, or do I see some areas where I think, yeah, you need a little bit more info than what you have here, and I can make some suggestions. The whole point of this exercise, the midterm progress report, is for me to be able to give you some help about midway through, before we're so far into the semester that trying to take on this pretty major project becomes almost impossible. So it's really to help you, not to beat up on you, not to make your life miserable, I promise. Again, the whole point of the overall project is to give you a chance to apply what we're reading and to sort of see for yourself where things seem to work versus where they're a little more challenging maybe, versus where maybe they just don't apply to the organization that you're studying. So I'm really looking forward to seeing your midterm progress reports. And again, I want to encourage you, if you have any questions at all, any concerns, you know how to get a hold of me. Ask specific questions. Lucy, it's a phone call to me, it's an email to me, it's a post on the discussion board. I'm here to help. Good luck. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.